Hello, everyone, and welcome to. You guys are probably wondering what's she doing. Anyway, I was trying to do this countdown thing. I don't know if it happened or not, but I was trying to do something different here, as I always am, trying to make the lives better. But anyway, thank you everyone for joining me here at Sandra Stenography and Shorthand Dictation. And if you're hearing us on my podcast, welcome to my podcast, Let's Write Steno. Thank you so much, everyone. If you're on the podcast, please don't forget to hit the subscription button. And if you're on the YouTube channel, Sandra Steno, please don't forget to subscribe. And as you can see, my ticker running below here, right below right here, it says right now my mission is to get to 1,000 subs. Please help. Oh, please help by subbing today. And if you could do that, I would really appreciate it. If you have already subscribed to the podcast, to the podcast or to the YouTube channel, don't forget to hit the bell for notifications so you'll know when I upload new videos. I'm doing this every week now. And let's see, new videos are coming out every week, so I don't want you to miss anything. Please hit the bell for notifications. Also, in addition, there's new podcasts on uploaded every week as well. Go check that out. I'm also starting to do keyboard practices over there. So if you're struggling with any type of combinations, let me know in the comments section below the video, and I'll be sure to create a podcast for you on it. Lately, the first one I've done is STR. So any words beginning with STR, such as strange, even stratosphere, I do the words, and I also do sentences. So you can check that out on the podcast. And 80 words per minute is a video also on pointers for executives. It's also a new upload on the podcast. So please go over there and check that out. Also, leave me a comment, as I just said. I love you guys. Comment you guys. Oh, I'm so country from Florida. So I love you guys. You guys' comments. They keep me motivated. They keep me going. Thank you so much. So drop me a comment. I always respond. Also, let me see. Leave me a thumbs up for any videos on any video that is helpful to you. It helps the algorithm. And also share the videos. And you can also find me on Court Reporters Plus at Facebook, on Facebook, Court Reporters Plus. And you can also check me out on Blogger. I'm on Blogger. And I'm getting a website done up and running for you guys over there. And that I will leave the link in the description. Is Sandra. Oh, I'm sorry. Nothing with Sandra in it. It's Steno Slayers 247. Steno Slayers 247. And you'll find that on Blogger. Okay? So there's a couple of places that you can find me. Oh, you can also find me on that's Twitter as well. So there you go. All those good places you can find me. Let's go ahead and get started. Guys, we're still working on the Jeffrey Mcdonald case here, trial. Jeffrey Mcdonald is on the stand. Let me clean my glasses while I talk to you guys about this. Jeffrey Mcdonald is still on the stand. We're currently on day August 13th, as far as the testimony is concerned. Mr. Warhide is asking the questions. Mr. Warhide is spelled. If you have not been following this series, this is going to be dictation number 14. You guys got to catch up. Mr. Warhide is spelled M-R period W-O-E-H-E-I-D-E. That's W-O-E-R like Robert, H like Harry, E like Edward, I like ice cream, D like dog, E like Edward. Mr. Warhide. And let's see, he is, of course, asking questions on behalf of the state. And we have Jeffrey Mcdonald on the stand. We'll go ahead and get started. Let me clear. I have my handy dandy stopwatch only because it helps me, one, to keep the pace, because this is not marked off as my normal, guys, when I do dictations that are 100 words per minute, 200 words per minute, so on and so forth, 80, they are marked off every 20 words. This is not marked off, so the clock helps me kind of keep my pace, and it also tells me how long I have been reading. This is going to be about a good 30 minutes. How about that? Let's see, we're doing StreamYard. Yes. So this is going to be 30 minutes. I can do that on here because I'm not on Anchor. If you do happen to hear this on Anchor at some other point, this may be broken down in 15-minute sections for you. Let me pull up the material. We're going to start with the question. This is Q&A, and I will be going, I'm going to say various speeds, somewhere between, because this is not marked off. Let's go with 100 to 140 at times, give or take. Let's just see how well you do. Write clean notes, please. As clean as you can possibly make them. And always read your notes after practice. And always, if you have the time, please transcribe your notes and take them and compare them against the video so that you can see how you're writing. Because just writing is only half the battle. I'm not going to start preaching, guys. You guys know how I do. I'm not going to do that tonight. But please take the time to do that. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's write. Question: Mildred is Colette's mother? Answer: so mother. She's been bizarre for a long time. How can you sit at dinner and say that you wish your other grandkids were killed? So I made this tremendous mistake, this fantastic error. I tried to be a doctor. I tried to rebuild my life. And I moved away. And that's my 3 crimes. Question: Tell me, Dr. Macdonald, you were in fact investigating this matter. Were you not? Answer: yes. Question: Had you found one of these persons? What would you have done? Answer: I don't know. I don't know. Question: Would you have done what you said you did? Answer: who knows, Mr. Warhide. I may have. When I think of giving mouth-to-mouth resuscitation to my wife and my kids, I think, yeah, it doesn't seem so hard to visualize. Question: from your knowledge of psychiatry and psychology, would you not say that that's a perfectly normal reaction? Answer: sure. Question: and would you not say that you're a normal human being? Answer: I would. Question: and if you encountered one of these people under the appropriate circumstances, would you have done what you said that you did do? Answer: it's conceivable. There's a time lapse. I had been through this. It was different then. Like, in April, before I'd been questioned, that's a different time frame. It's conceivable, sure. I still think about that. I still get a flash when I see something. I see a lot of dopers in my practice, and it crosses my mind. But I always think later. Question: what crosses your mind? Answer: how can I work so goddamn hard saving an addict's life for an overdose? What the hell do I care? Question: does it cross your mind that perhaps you Should do them in instead of answer, not specifically do them in. Question, helping them? Answer, no, not specifically do them in. It crosses my mind, yes. Why the hell do I break my butt and break my nurses' butts and the whole emergency room to save this creep who's got $20,000, $10,000 cash in his pocket from a recent sale? And he shoots up some fresh heroin and he dies and I resuscitate him. What the hell do I do that for? But I always do it. And I've always thought about that. I always do it. My nurses think I'm a good physician. And then I think I carry it to the extreme. What would I do if I had to testify in a trial against these people? Would I sneak a gun in and shoot them? Question, well, you know yourself best. Do you think you would? Answer, probably not. Question, but at least you think about it? Answer, sure. Wouldn't you? Question, and you might come in with a gun in your pocket, whether you used it or not? Answer, sure. Question, I have a letter dated 11/1970, which I take is November 19th, 1970. I won't read the whole letter. It's signed Jeff, and there's a postscript with quote J, close quote on it. It's addressed to Fred, and it talks in the early part about certain material that is to be furnished Lowenstein, who I think is Congressman Lowenstein. It says, quote, you can send full news clippings reminding me of transcripts, taped interviews with Shaw, Ivory, Grebner, and other intercepted official stuff, close quote. What is that reference to, quote, other intercepted official stuff, close quote? And so we have the Army version by telegram of the hair incident on the Post. I don't know who sent it to us. Someone in whoever intercepts Army telegrams, Xerox it, and it sent it to us, a copy, without signing a name or anything. Question, how did it come to you? Through the mail? Answer, through the mail. Question, and there were other items of that nature. Is that correct? Answer, yes, I would suppose. There are a lot of loose notes and stuff and handwritten notes and stuff. That's all part of my attorney-client relationship, I have been told. Question, it says that you are beginning work on your speech for a news conference when you get out. And you said you can deliver memos. I suppose that means mimeographs of the speech and photos, if necessary, to Newsday, Post, Long Island Advance, and Times. The morning of the news conference, then you talk about the timing of the conference and where it should take place. And then there comes this paragraph. Page 4, quote, I will deny your phone conversation of today if anyone even asks, close quote. Is that the phone conversation you are referring to when you said you killed one of the answer, I don't know if I said killed. Question, one of the intruders. Answer, I don't know if I said, quote, killed, close quote. I probably used the stupid phrase that we used to use in the Army for the assassination teams, where we use terms like, quote, eliminate with extreme prejudice, close quote. Cops and robber stuff. Question, and you add, quote, I'm sure you can figure out why what must be done, close quote. Answer, you know what's interesting, Mr. Warhide? You're not the only person that has that. Every news person that ever talked to Freddie has a copy of that letter. Question, I have a copy of another letter. It's dated November 6, 1971. So that's approximately a year later. It reads in part as follows, colon, quote, it was obvious the only way for justice to be met is for me to do it. I am doing it, have been doing it. 4 trips to North Carolina and Florida in the last 3 months, and will continue to do it as long as my strength holds up. Broken hand last trip, $2,000 spent. The only legit help I see is private eye type, most of which I have found is no more competent than local cops. My next major goal is a large sum of money via an advance from a publisher for this purpose. The first chapter of the book, I assume that refers to chapter of my book, has been written. The outline is done, and still we are only dickering with publishers. They just won't come across fast. Plus, John Cummings mouthing off to publishers have hurt the book. There's another story. He wanted the story. When he failed to produce, I went elsewhere. But he got so resentful, he has been sandbagging our efforts. Close quote. Now, referring back to this paragraph, tell us about these 4 trips to North Carolina, Florida, in the last 3 months, and the broken hand. Answer, that was all part of this. Question, there were no 4 trips? Answer, I was keeping Freddie happy. He's crazy. He's This is absolute insanity. The man is a frantic. He's an alcoholic frantic. He has sat in that house and reread every single thing on this case for 4 years. That's a bizarre reaction to a tragedy. They haven't seen a friend. Friends come over to their house and they try to take them out to dinner and they slam the door in their face. The guy is a fanatic. At that point in time, question, let's talk about your statement. Answer, this is sort of the beginning of the end. It was already obvious when I would go back to New York to see my mother and see briefly Mildred and Freddie that there was a whole different thing going on. And this is really continuing that stupid game until I finally got up enough nerve to write him a letter and tell him the truth. Question, what was your purpose in making this statement at this particular time? This is November 6th. I believe the date is November 9th, rather 1971. Answer, you mean the letter itself? Question, this statement to him about making 4 trips to North Carolina and Florida in the last 3 months, and you were going to continue to do this. And you had a broken hand on the last trip. Answer, I didn't have a broken hand. Question, and it cost you $2,000. Answer, I'm telling you, Freddie. I was telling Freddie this great detective story that I was doing all this work on the case because that's what says he was doing. Question, well, why all this explicit detail and color like the broken hand? Were you implying you broke your hand slapping somebody? Answer, I suppose, Mr. Warhide, my actions during that period of time, I apologize for them. Jesus, that doesn't mean I murdered my wife and kids. It was stupid. I regretted it every single day since I wrote the letter to Freddie. I regretted it the day it started. How do you tell your father-in-law that you have been leading him on about this investigation? Question, at this time, were you involved in, you talk here about writing a book. At this time, were you involved in writing of a book? Answer, it's never been written. There were a lot of interviews with authors and publishers. The publishers want to see advanced material from an author. The authors want advance money from the publisher. It's sort of a catch-22 type situation. And all these supposedly helpful friends of mine want me to write a book. I didn't want to write a book. So you keep putting them off. I had interviews with William Morrow Agency in New York and Ernest, Kane, and Gitlin, something like that, some firm in New York. And several people wrote beginning chapters and tried to get front money. When it became apparent that I was going to have to sit down with this person for a period of months, go over the whole thing, and sort of live with an author, I said, screw it. I'm not doing it. I was trying to rebuild a life. And that's when I decided I've got to clear this up. So I wrote Freddie a letter and I said, Freddie, what I told you in the past is not true. Question, that's a later letter? Answer, yes. But at this time, we were talking to publishers. Question, did you have any contract with John Cummings? Answer, no. Question, did you sit down with him and make preparation for the writing of the book? Answer, no. Cummings is an oily newspaper man and he assumes all these things and made grand statements to everyone all the time that he was an author of the Mcdonald story for a book. And unfortunately, my attorneys felt that I should give him that other interview down in Fort Bragg because Newsday, it was my mother's hometown, the Kasabs area, and that they should get more legitimate, get a more legitimate version of what happened. That's all. But Cummings was never my choice. I don't like that man. Question, by the way, I think it's appropriate to mention at this time, Dr. Mcdonald, I have put in front of you, and you have it before you at this time, a Xerox copy of the Cummings story as it was printed in Newsday. And this is I told you that I would furnish you with a copy of it. And tomorrow I will ask you further questions about it. Now, the next paragraph of this letter and say, quote, the one difference between you and I is that I don't think you see the fact that justice will not bring back my family. I want revenge, preferably brutal revenge, and don't care about justice anymore. There is no justice in case you haven't noticed. Quote, you act as though you were on a noble cause. I think the cause is ugly, brutal, but necessary. I will do it. I have done some 1/4 or 1/5 of it, close quote. Now, let's talk about that statement. Is that again an allusion to the statement that you made back in November about having knocked off or answer yes? Question, whatever the term you used was, answer right. Question, one of these alleged assailants which you told Freddie that you had run down, answer right. What I was trying to tell Freddie is that he was on a soapbox all the time. He made it sound like this was some sort of glorious thing to do. He didn't understand. He didn't understand them. I never heard Freddie and Mildred say, I want Colette back. Never. They said they wanted to see someone hurt. What the hell does that do? Question. This is a letter on the stationery of Jeffrey R. Mcdonald, MD, 160 52 Mariner Drive, Huntington Beach, California, 92649. The date is 3/22/73, which I take to be March 22nd, 1973. It's addressed, quote, Dear Mildred, close quote. Is this the letter you were referring to? And when you referred to it, you said you sent it to a Freddie? A later letter? Answer, no. Question, to place this in context, let me read a part of it. Quote, I did tell Fred some things after I left the army that were not 100% true. These things were partially true. I magnified them to help my own feelings of inadequacy. And also, I hope to isolate myself with these comments and allow my mental status to clear. Unfortunately, Fred has misread the importance of these comments, close quote. Does that refresh your recollection as to whether or not this is the letter that you are referring to? Answer, I remember it as being, I addressed it to Freddie, Mildred, I believe Helen. Question, so there's another letter along this line, is that correct? Answer, I think there is. I'm sure I addressed it to all three. Helen was living with them. Helen is Colette's aunt. She was living with them, and she was closer to Colette than Colette's mother. Question. Well, here's another portion of the letter that might serve to refresh your recollection. Quote, I truly hope those absurd tales Fred told me on the phone about girls are daydreaming. They certainly are not true facts. I never lied to you about extramarital affairs. I never had an affair, but I did see, date, sleep with a very rare girl away from home. You know that because we discussed it. Freddie knew it also. The rest is complete garbage. Close quote. Answer, that's true. That's what I said to her. Question, all right now. Why were you saying this at this time in this letter? Answer, there had been a phone call from Freddie that he had called me up. He was drunk. It was the middle of the night, and he was ranting and raving. That he had, maybe I'm exaggerating, okay? But I recollected him as saying that he had just come from Fort Bragg and he had 15 affidavits that the MPs were supplying me with girls while I was locked in my BOQ room. So I said, Freddie, that's the most ludicrous comment I've ever heard in my life. It's obscene, perverse, and it's incredible. He said, I don't know. He said he had sworn affidavits from 15 girls in Fayetteville that the MPs or the CID or someone was supplying me with females while I was locked up in my BOQ. I said, Freddie, you're crazy. Question, did you have any females in your BOQ? Answer, after I was released from custody, sure. Question, while you were in custody? Answer, while I was in custody? Females in my BOQ room? Question, yes. Answer, you mean other than friends and relatives? Question, I mean, was there a girl who would come in and have sexual relationships with you during the period that you were in custody in your BOQ? Answer, no, afterwards. Question, now, during this time period, there was no such girl? Answer, there was a girl that I used to sit outside with the MP guard and do some reading outside, and she was a BO clerk or something in another BOQ office. And it started out, she walked by and she said, hi, aren't you Captain Mcdonald? And I'm standing there with an MP guard behind me. So I said, yes, I'm Captain Mcdonald. And it started out, then like a month later, she'd come by and give me a tuna fish sandwich while I'm sitting out there. And after I dated her, after I took her out on a double date with one of my escort officers, as a matter of fact. Question, while you were in the BOQ under escort and guard? Answer, no. One of my escort officers who became sort of a friend after I was released from custody. She got another girl, and we went on a double date. We went to a movie and had dinner or something. Question, what was her name? Answer, I don't know. I think McPherson or Rains. Question, what was the girl's name? Answer, I don't know. Question, you don't remember her name? Answer, nodded negatively. Question, how frequently did you see her? Answer, I probably dated her several times before I left before December. Question, at this time, you say Freddie purported to have affidavits from 15 girls? Answer, that's the sense of the conversation, 15. Question, you say that this is completely erroneous? Answer, erroneous. Question, there were not 15 girls. Will you say there were no girls? Answer, you mean in regards to having sexual relations in my BOQ room while I'm under guard with an MP outside the door? Question, yes. Answer, yes. I would say that is erroneous. Foreman Epperson. Mr. Warhide, it's 4:10 thereabouts, and we have some people that want to get on the highway. Mr. Warhide, I'm sorry, I wasn't watching my watch and went on so long. I suggest that we excuse the grand jury and we commence tomorrow morning at 9:30. Is that? Foreman Epperson, right, sir. Witness, do you have any idea of length of testimony? Any idea at all? Mr. Warhide, yes. as you can see, we have a long way to go. And I know it's going to take all day tomorrow anyway, and it might run into the following day. Witness, if at all possible, Mr. Siegel has things he can't break Thursday. He'd really like to finish tomorrow. Mr. Warhide, you have Lieutenant Malley here, don't you? Witness, Michael Malley? Yes, Mr. Warhide, or Captain Malley, or whatever he is. I still refer to Witness. He's a civilian, Mr. Warhide. Mr. Warhide. But when I see his name on these documents that give him a military title, well, we'll keep that in mind and do the best we can. Witness, are you looking forward to testimony on Thursday? Do you actually see that as a strong possibility? Mr. Warhide, I see it as a strong possibility, Dr. Mcdonald. I know it's an inconvenience to the grand jury as well as an inconvenience to you and Mr. Siegel, but I foresee that as a possibility. But I can't absolutely say at this time because actually we've gone into some matters that don't relate to February 16th, 17th. Witness, for sure. Mr. Warhide, we really haven't started on February 16th, 17th. Foreman Epperson, you're excused. All right. That wasn't quite 30 minutes. I did want to get through the rest of August 13th because when we come back, I believe that is it. Finally, guys, for August 13th. We have been on August 13th since, you guys are not going to believe how far this goes back. At the beginning of August 13th, actually, the testimony, further examination. Okay, the following testimony was taken Tuesday, August 13, 1974, beginning at 9:30 in the grand jury room, federal building in Raleigh, North Carolina. All grand jurors were present at this time. The following proceedings were held to wit. Dr. Jeffrey Mcdonald resumes the stand. And then it starts off with Dr. Mcdonald. You are the same Dr. Mcdonald who testifies before the grand jury yesterday. Are you not, sir? Answer, yes, I am, sir. Question, and you understand your testimony at this time is given under oath that you took yesterday when you first came in as a witness. Answer, yes, I do. And it starts out, I have a couple of additional questions regarding the matters that we covered yesterday. You mentioned that your brother is now living in New Hope, Pennsylvania. Can you give us an address for him, sir? Answer, I don't know the exact address. We just moved recently. So whenever you hear, if you ever go back and listen to this again and you hear 1010 Highland Park Road, Schenectady, New York, you'll know that's when we actually started this particular August 13, 1974. And grand jury trial. Let me see something here. If you guys ever want to follow along and point out all the mistakes I make as I read, you guys can go to crimearchives.net. That's exactly where I'm reading this from. Let me see here. I'll put that in the description if I can remember. Let's see. So we've got, just to give you guys an idea, give me 1 second here. For those of you who are interested. So we started out memoranda relative to grand jury's power to investigate in the absence of the consent of the Justice Department. Anyway, we actually started out here with August 12th with the testimony of Jeffrey Macdonald. Let me click on that right quick for those of you who are interested in this type of thing. And of course, it starts out with I, Mary M. Ritchie, being a notary public for the state of North Carolina, was appointed to take the aforesaid matter, which was heard before the grand jury, Raleigh, North Carolina, commencing at 1 o'clock p.m. on August 12, 1974. And so this would probably cover videos this particular August, from August 12th. And then I have a name. I list all the names of the video of the jurors, of course, that are present. And at the end of this, you'll know you're at the end of day 12 when you get to, you see, I'll have to mark this on the videos as well. When you get to, I see it's after 4 o'clock. Mr. Warhide is speaking. I see it's after 4 o'clock, Mr. Foreman. I know some of us have to travel quite a distance. And I know the judge said you would be excused at 4 o'clock. And I suggest that you may wish to adjourn at this time and return tomorrow morning. I understand your schedule starts at 9:30 in the morning, and if it is agreeable with you and the grand jurors, I'm going to ask that Dr. Mcdonald be excused for the day and directed to return tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. for further testimony before the grand jury. Foreman says very well, and Dr. Macdonald is excused at this time. And let's see, of course, at that time, he's talking about the previous Q&A before that, in case you're looking for a reference, is I am referring to your family consisting of your father, your mother, your brother, and your sister. Answer, sure, my father died. That affected my mother and affected us. My brother used drugs and that affected us. My sister is mildly anxious, a young married female, and her crisis and calls in the middle of the night, but nothing spectacular. And so, long story short here, when we resume, we will be resuming on with reading number 15, and it's going to be, click here. So we've done all of the 12th, all of the 13th will be on August 14th. Still, he's on the stand, and he's actually on the stand, I believe, until 15th to 16th or the 17th. And so we'll begin with Mr. Warhide. Further, Dr. Jeffrey will resume the stand with further examination by Mr. Warhide. And so we'll get into August 14th, and I'm sure he's going to start getting into, I believe, the nitty gritty, because he, I mean, at some point you have to start getting into the good stuff. So, and actually asking questions, as he said, particularly on that night on February 16th and 17th. So that is going to be interesting. And let me look here just to give you guys, he's going to be on the stand. He's on the stand for the 12th, the 13th, the 14th, the 15th, the 16th. And then he's off the stand. So he's on the stand 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're almost done here. We're going to get through the 15th. We'll get through the 16th. The next testimony after that will be testimony of William Ivory. He's with the CID. I believe that's with the Army investigation. And he'll take the stand on, actually, he doesn't take the stand until the 20th. So we're going to have Jeffrey Macdonald on the stand for quite some time, and then before we get into dictation from anyone else. So, okay, that's it for tonight. Thank you guys for joining me. I'll see you hopefully at the next video, and thank you so much for being here. Have a great night. Love, peace, and as always, STENO. And don't forget to subscribe and leave me a thumbs up for it. Please thumbs up, please thumbs up, please thumbs up the video. Thank you guys. Love, peace.